as we usually do on Sharpen the Public, we talk about everything week to week, but we're just going to skip over that because, I mean, there's no point in talking about week 18 now. The regular season is over. We have to focus on the playoffs. I will note and say that we said the public was going to do really well, and they did go 9-7 in week 18. So good to see that happen. Some other things that we talked about as well, but let's talk about the total public betting trends to date, and then we can kind of start breaking down things in terms of how the wildcard weekend is going to go game by game and stuff like that. But to start it off, the creme de la creme, the public, the thing that everyone wants to hear about, 56% win percentage over the entire course of the season after betting 18 weeks and 147 and 117 ATS. That includes some pushes to get you to the 272 games that they play, but absolutely incredible. What else can we say?
Profitable to tail the public all year. In fact, very healthily profitable. You talk about having to hit 52% to break a profit in sports betting because of the minus 110 juice, and they went 4% over that. That's really impressive, and kudos to the public for doing so well. Let's hope that they crash and burn next year because I feel like we did not really take advantage of that enough. You and I continue to say this is going to regress to the mean. It never did, and we have, hey, hand up, we were wrong. Put your hand up.
Yeah,
we were wrong.
Yeah, we were wrong. I mean, we really were. Like, we kind of. I wouldn't say that it like affected us too much, but trying to interpret what's going to happen. It's really difficult, and it's interesting because the public didn't do nearly as well as they did this year, and they still do relatively well in the wildcard week. They're over the last 20 years. I think they're a 53% win percentage hitting games in the wildcard week. Last year they went 3-3, so that's kind of right in line with that. So just something to look out for as we kind of dive into these games and talk about the betting tickets and money, because it's really minute when it comes to the wild card, because there's so many more bets, like fewer games, a lot more analysis for bookmakers to really sharpen that line. And if you didn't get in at the best number, which is usually at the beginning, it's going to be really hard. But we'll talk about it and we'll hit all those stuff. Let's finish off with these trends. Money percentage went 141 and 123. ATS over the year, that's a 53% win percentage, so they stayed above that number that you talked about, the 52%, in order to win bets or win money. And then sharp differential actually went a 133 and 131. It's a 50 point whatever percent win percentage. Kind of crazy, especially when you take into account like what we talked about last year, how different it is. It's kind of flipped on its head entirely.
I'm at a loss for words, DJ. I didn't think the public would outperform both metrics that worked out so well for us last year, but hence, that is why we do the podcast, right? To kind of illustrate that it's not so simple just fading the public. And I think that there is a lot to be said about that. But I mean, we've been beating that drum all season. I don't need to beat it even more heading into the wild card weekend.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably countless clips that you could find of us being like, this is going to happen, and none of it happened because everything really just stayed consistent throughout the year. The crazy thing happened. The crazy thing is like, the high amount of public tickets still did really well. Like, that's when people say, oh, the public's on this side, fade it. And it still went 16, 4, 20, 24, 25 games above 500. Insane. Absolutely insane. So keep that in mind. Fading the public is a ridiculous narrative, and that's what we're here to show on Sharpen the Public. But let's move to totals. Public betting the over 71 and 83 on the year, which is actually a 46% win percentage, and that might not be great like to the naked eye, but they went 42% last year. So a 4% increase, and a significant portion of that came in the second half of the year when, you know, we were talking about how crazy totals how low totals were, and it kind of flipped. You know, it didn't end up being positive, but I think it was like 40% at some point in the midpoint, and now it's 46%. That's impressive.
Yeah, 46% for the public on the over is still not great, but it is better than we expected. They're always traditionally terrible at betting the over, but historically pretty good at betting the under. And the 54% win percentage for the public on the under shows that, right? So a 54% win percentage over an entire season is still really solid. So not a ton there. I think they didn't do as bad as expected on the over.
Yeah, exactly. And the main thing I think there is like similar to the point about the high amount of public tickets is like when you see 85% of tickets on a team, people are going to scream fade the public. Or if you see 85% of the money or public on the over, you're kind of going to think the same way. And we kind of touted that in the beginning of the year, but we made sure to talk about it and be like, no, it's going to switch, or it's likely will switch based on what happened last year. I didn't think it switched this much, but if you look at tickets 70% or more betting the over, it went 20-26 over the course of the year, which is way better than in 2022 when it went 9-20. So way better.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, those are the major trends, major things we talk about. Money percentage under finished at 88-75. That's a 54% win percentage. Sharp differential on the under 114-90. Crazy how many times that happened, but it only finished at 56% win percentage. Money percentage on the over 48-54. Sorry, which is a 47% win percentage, and then sharp differential on the over 32-28, which is a 53% win percentage. So I will personally be kind of looking for those sharp differentials on the over. I think they've been doing really well to end the year because it was somewhat closer to like 47% and it ended at 53%, especially as, if overs do continue to happen like they did last year in the wild card week. So definitely something that I want to look for. And who doesn't want to see points? But there's some interesting weather predictions to talk about here for wild card week, right, Andy?
Yeah, I'm with you. When something does like kind of turn on the Jets there at the end of the season, similar to how the sharp differential did on the over, then definitely an actionable item. But yeah, I think that the weather is going to affect how people are betting on some of these, where like, for example, with the snow game, everyone's just pounding the under so much that the total has gone down almost 3 points now, or a full 3 points in some spots. That's to be expected, right? Everyone's just going to slam the under. But hey, maybe we find areas where we are able to zag against that because you don't need to use the trend logic, you use actual logic. So we'll see. We'll navigate it game by game. It's something that you don't want to just blindly take, as we said.
Yeah. So let's talk about what the public did and like the public betting trends for wild card week last year, because we do have that data and that's kind of what we're here for. Public went 3-3, money went 3-3, sharp differential 3-3. Very upsetting.
Yeah, and I think we were like 1-5 or 0-6 or some shit on the wild card last year. It was a massacre. So good for all of them for breaking even, I guess. You just have to pay your juice, whatever.
Golden rule and Geico trend. The Geico trend went 2-0 last year, which is 15% or sharps or more. Golden rule went 1-0, which is 20-29% sharp differential. Public over 70% went 0-2. So that's something of note for sure. So that means anything under 70% public tickets went 3-1. So maybe over the history of, how good the public's been, I said they've been 53% over the last 20 years betting in the wildcard week. Maybe they're really just not so great above 70%, but I don't have the data to say that. That's just my interpretation of it.
Yeah, but that's something that we've seen across, like throughout the years, right? That high confidence public is always not great. So
except for this year, it's like, what's going to happen?
Except for this year, correct? Yeah, so it is a bit of a mixed bag. That's a good point.
Totals, like I said, 5 games went towards the over. Public went 3-1 betting the over. Public went 0-2 betting the under. I think that's maybe just a bit of a nuance since 5 games did go over. Money percentage on the over 1-1. Sharp differential on the over 0-1. Money percentage on the under 0-4. Sharp differential on the under 0-5. And that's partly why we didn't have a great year last. I think I bet 4 unders last year.
That's what we do, though. You know what you're signing up for this with this podcast. You're going to hear us talk about the trends, and you're going to hear us say, take the under. It is what
Absolutely.
it is. I mean,
it's just
you know
exactly
simple. What you're signing up for.
Yeah. All right. Before we get into the games, Andy, do you have any fun trends that you want to talk about for Wild Card Week? I know that, we already mentioned the Joe Flacco one. It's kind of insane.
Yeah, I think we can get there as we go game by game. I'll have a few to give out depending on the game that we're talking about.
Okay.
But double-digit favorites in the wild card weekend, 11-4 ATS. It proves double-digit favorites. Take it as you will, whether there's date range or not. And then dogs over the last 6 wild card weekends, just underdogs in general, 20-10. So
insane.
Yeah, just keep both of those in mind. Home dogs as well at that, 8-3-2. Both of those are ATS. So just keep that in mind. Those 3 as we're kind of navigating these. But ultimately, right, the only one that we have a double-digit spread on is that Steelers and Bills game. So I could have hit that when we get there, but still, they are just both general trends that we'll get into as we get there.
Yeah, those are absolutely fun trends. All right, Andy, I'm going to ask you a series of questions here regarding this week. I'm going to ask you to not look at the Andy, which team do you think will be the public's favorited bet this week? And we'll take the answer to be as of right now. We're recording this on Thursday.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
Wow, the Chiefs. Chiefs are currently sitting at as 4.5-point home favorites. They're 58% of the bets. The favored team by the public is currently the Rams, +3 on the road. The Jared Goff and Matt Stafford Bowl.
And what's the percentage of bets?
73%.
Wow. Yeah, that makes me like Dolphins. Not Dolphins. Jesus, that makes me like the Lions even more.
That's gonna be such a good game. It's the Matt Stafford Bowl. It's such a good one. It's obviously one of the most bet. Yeah.
There's a lot of narrative because one, it's LA media huge, right? But also, the Rams have been making a really solid run towards the back half of the season. I attribute it to that. I also attribute it to the fact that we have seen the Lions fall flat a bit in some games that are a bit closer like this, in some games that are against teams that are pretty good. But to me, there are still a lot of glaring issues with the Rams that we should talk about when we get to that game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Where I don't necessarily agree with the public siding with that. But, I mean, hey, the public hit a higher win percentage this season than I did. So, who am I to doubt the public at all back at the Rams this weekend? We'll see.
Yeah. A 56% win percentage this year from the public is pretty good. So, definitely might be on the side of the Rams this week. And then the second question, which game do you think will be bet the most? And we'll take the bets right now to say.
Snow game. Yeah, snow game. It's already 72,000 bets. I knew that.
Yeah, 73,000 bets now. Dolphins Chiefs is currently the best, highest bet game of the slate, and we are on Thursday night. So interesting to see.
Yeah, totally. I'm interested to see if that's still the case. I feel like there are other games that have the potential to pass it, but I see it both ways, right? Everyone's going to want some action on the snow game, but also there are people out there that are going to be like, no fucking chance I'm betting that game. So we'll see what happens. It should be, right. I'll be betting it.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Right. I'm ready to talk about it.
Yeah, it's time to get into the game. So what we're going to get here, I want us to come up with a Sharpen the Public teaser, which cashed last week, by the way. Thank you, Jets and Ravens. Barely cashing for the Ravens.
Shout out.
We're going to get a Sharpen the Public teaser, and we're both going to get a best bet of the week. That's at least one goal. We'll probably have multiple, but I need your best bet.
Cool. Yeah, I can definitely do that.
Leave a like, comment, subscribe on YouTube if you're new. We appreciate all the support. I mean, as always, the comments, the love. We appreciate you all. Redditors, everything. It's been going well. I mean, we've now been doing this for 2 years, so it's going pretty strong, and hopefully we can finish off the Super Bowl well and keep it going.
Oh, yeah. 4 weeks to go. Let's enjoy it.
Hell yeah. As always, thank you guys. We'll see you next time. Bet well.
The boys bet better with beer.